I spent 3 weeks researching that beach house, not just scrolling through rental sites, but actually calling, asking about the view, the amenities, the restaurants nearby. I wanted it perfect. I wanted Lauren to walk in and remember why she married me. Remember that I could still surprise her, that I still paid attention. The deposit alone was $2,000, non-refundable. I didn't care. I withdrew it from the account I kept separate, the one I'd been building for emergencies. This felt like an emergency. Our marriage was drowning, and I was throwing it a lifeline made of ocean views and expensive wine. "You're overthinking this," my foreman Danny said when I mentioned it at the site. "Just take her somewhere nice. Women love that stuff." "It's more complicated than that," I told him, checking the foundation measurements. "It always is," he said, laughing. "That's why I'm on my third marriage." I didn't laugh, didn't want to think about thirds, wanted to fix the first. Lauren had been different lately, distant. She'd started working late 3 nights a week, coming home smelling like expensive restaurants I'd never been to. Her phone was always face down on the counter. She'd stopped asking about my day, stopped laughing at my jokes, stopped looking at me like I mattered. But she still wore her ring, still slept in our bed, even if she faced the wall now. Still signed her emails Tom Brennan, my last name attached to hers like a promise we'd both forgotten how to keep. The barbecue at her sister's place was supposed to be casual, family and friends. Amy had invited us a month ago, back when Lauren still occasionally smiled at me. "We should go," Lauren had said, not looking up from her laptop. "Amy's been asking." "Yeah, okay. I'll bring the steaks." "Fine." That was the extent of our conversation that week. "Fine." "Okay, sure." I marinated the steaks the night before, used the recipe my father taught me, the one with the soy sauce and brown sugar, packed them carefully in the cooler with ice, grabbed 2 bottles of the wine Lauren liked, the $20 kind that came in heavy bottles with French names I couldn't pronounce. Saturday afternoon, we drove to Amy's in silence. Lauren stared out the window, scrolling through her phone. I watched the road and tried to remember the last time we'd talked about anything real. "So I booked the beach house," I said, breaking the silence. "The one you showed me last year, with the wraparound deck." She glanced at me. "When?" "Next Friday, long weekend. I got us the premium package, kayaks, the whole thing. You should have asked me first. I wanted to surprise you. I don't like surprises." "You used to." She went back to her phone. "That was before." "Before what?" "Before it stopped mattering." I kept driving, hands tight on the wheel, jaw clenched. Before it stopped mattering. Like our entire marriage was past tense. Like I was already gone. We pulled up to Amy's house at 3. The yard was full of people. Music played from a speaker on the patio. Someone's kids were running through a sprinkler. It looked like a commercial for summer, for happiness, for the life we used to have. Amy met us at the gate. She hugged Lauren, then me, and I felt her tense when she squeezed my shoulder. Like she knew something, like she was preparing me. "Glad you guys made it," she said, smiling too bright. "Food's on the grill, drinks are in the cooler." Lauren walked ahead, immediately joining a group of women near the patio. They were her book club friends. I'd met them a few times. They always looked at me like I was interesting in the way a broken appliance might be interesting. Something fixable, maybe, but probably not worth the effort. I carried the steaks to the grill where Amy's husband Greg was flipping burgers. "Tom, good to see you, man. You bring those famous steaks?" "Yeah, they're in the cooler." "Excellent. How's work?" "Busy. We just landed a big hospital renovation, 6 months of work." "That's great. Really great." He paused, watching Lauren across the yard. "How are things, otherwise?" I followed his gaze. Lauren was laughing at something on her phone, showing it to the women around her. They all leaned in, laughing too. "Complicated," I said. Greg nodded slowly. "Amy's worried. She doesn't say much, but I can tell." Worried about what? He shrugged. That's between you and her, I guess. I grabbed a beer from the cooler and wandered through the yard, making small talk with people I barely knew. Neighbors, co-workers of Amy's, some guy from Greg's softball league. Everyone was friendly. Everyone was surface level. No one asked real questions. After an hour, I found myself near Lauren's group. She was showing photos on her phone, her voice animated in a way I hadn't heard in months. "And this is the restaurant I was telling you about," she said. "The ambiance is incredible. They have this private dining section with these gorgeous chandeliers." "Who'd you go with?" one of the women asked. "Oh, just some people from work. Client dinner, but the food was amazing." A client dinner. That's what she'd called it when she came home at 11 on a Tuesday. A client dinner that required a new dress and perfume I didn't recognize. I moved closer. She saw me but didn't acknowledge me. Just kept talking, kept showing photos. I caught glimpses. A wine glass. A table set for two. The reflection of someone's hand in the background of one shot. A man's hand. Expensive watch. No ring. "Hey," I said, stepping into the circle. "Can I talk to you for a second?" Lauren barely glanced at me. "I'm in the middle of something." "It'll just take a minute." "Tom, not now." One of her friends, Jessica, I think, smiled politely. "We'll give you two a second." They scattered, leaving us standing alone in the middle of the yard. Lauren looked annoyed, trapped. "What's so important?" she asked. "I wanted to tell you about the beach house. Get you excited about the trip." "I already told you, I don't like surprises." "It's not a surprise anymore. I'm telling you now. We leave Friday morning. I got us the place with the ocean view, the one you bookmarked." She stared at me like I'd just told her I'd booked a trip to the moon. "You're serious?" "Of course I'm serious. I thought we could use some time together, away from everything." "Away from what? Work? Reality? Life? Away from whatever's making you unhappy." She laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. "You think a beach trip is going to fix this?" "Fix what?" "Us, Tom. You think beach and sun won't make me love a man like you?" The yard went quiet. I don't know if people actually stopped talking or if my brain just shut out all other noise, but suddenly I could hear everything. Birds, wind chimes, a dog barking 3 houses away, my own heart hammering. Lauren's face was calm, matter of fact. She'd just destroyed me in a single sentence, and she looked like she was commenting on the weather. "Lauren." Amy's voice cut through the silence. She was suddenly there, between us, her face flushed with anger or embarrassment or both. "What is wrong with you?" "I'm being honest," Lauren said, shrugging. "Tom appreciates honesty, don't you, Tom?" I couldn't speak, couldn't move. I was holding 2 glasses of wine I'd poured for us. They felt impossibly heavy. Amy grabbed her sister's arm. "You don't talk to him like that. Not here, not anywhere." "Why not? He needs to hear it." "You'll regret those words, sis," Amy said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Then she turned to me, her eyes full of something I couldn't name. Pity, maybe, or fury. She leaned close, her breath warm against my ear, and whispered something I barely processed, something about being ready, about not letting her win. I set the wine glasses down on the nearest table. My hands were shaking. I walked past Lauren, past Amy, past all the staring faces, straight to my truck. I sat behind the wheel for a long time. People moved around the yard, the party continued. Through the window, I could see Lauren talking to someone new. A man I didn't recognize. He was tall, well-dressed, standing with the kind of confidence that comes from never being told no. He leaned against the fence like he owned it. Lauren touched his arm when she laughed. I started the truck. The drive home took 30 minutes. I didn't remember any of it. Just blinked and I was in the driveway, staring at our house. The house we'd bought together 7 years ago. The house I'd spent 3 years renovating, room by room, while she climbed the corporate ladder. The house that was supposed to be ours. Inside, everything was the same: clean, organized, impersonal. Lauren had redecorated 2 years ago, hired someone to make it look like a magazine spread. Nothing felt lived in. Nothing felt like mine. I went to the kitchen and opened my laptop. The shared calendar we'd used since getting married loaded automatically. Color-coded blocks filled the screen. Lauren's life mapped out in precise segments. I scrolled through the last 6 months. Yoga on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Book club on Wednesdays. Personal time every Thursday afternoon. 4 hours. Same location marker each time. Personal time. I clicked on the location. It pinned to a hotel downtown. The Morrison. The same hotel where her company Christmas party had been held. Where I'd met her co-workers. Where a man named Derek Sullivan had introduced himself, shaken my hand too firmly, and asked what I did. Logistics, I'd said. Interesting, he'd replied, in a tone that meant it wasn't. I'd watched him find Lauren in the crowd, watched them talk by the bar, watched her laugh at something he said, her hand briefly touching his arm. The same gesture I'd just seen at the barbecue, with the same man. I closed the laptop and opened a bottle of whiskey, poured 3 fingers, sat at the kitchen table in the dark. My phone buzzed. Amy. Tom, I'm so sorry. I had no idea she was going to say that. Are you okay? Call me when you can. I didn't call, didn't respond, just sat there drinking and thinking about timelines, about location pins, about Thursday afternoons and expensive restaurants and new dresses and client dinners for 2. At midnight, Lauren came home. I heard her car in the driveway, heard the front door open, heard her heels clicking on the hardwood. She stopped in the kitchen doorway. You left, she said. You noticed. Everyone noticed. You embarrassed me. I laughed. The sound came out wrong, harsh and brittle. I embarrassed you? Yes. Walking out like that. Like a child. I stood up. The room tilted slightly. You told me, in front of 40 people, that a beach trip won't make you love me. And I'm the child? I was honest. You were cruel. She shrugged off her jacket. Maybe you needed to hear it. How long? I asked. How long what? How long have you been seeing Derek Sullivan? Her face didn't change, didn't even flicker. I don't know what you're talking about. The Thursday appointments, the Morrison Hotel, the client dinners. Those are work events. Work events that last 4 hours? Work events at hotels? We have meetings. Sometimes they run long. You're lying. She walked past me to the sink, poured a glass of water. You're paranoid. Am I? Then show me your phone. No. Why not? Because you don't trust me. Because this conversation is insane. Because I'm not doing this tonight. She walked upstairs. I heard the bedroom door close. Lock. I sat back down and finished the whiskey. Then I opened my laptop and started taking notes. By sunrise, I had 12 pages of documentation. Dates, times, location patterns, credit card charges, restaurant receipts from the shared account, hotel parking validations I'd found in her car's cup holder, the Christmas party photos on social media where Derek appeared in 6 different shots, always near Lauren. Everything laid out in chronological order, everything pointing to the same conclusion. I'd been replaced, systematically, methodically, while I was busy booking beach houses and buying expensive wine and believing that marriages could be saved by ocean views and effort. I was the man she didn't love anymore, and Derek Sullivan was the man she did. I closed the laptop, showered, and got ready for work. When I came back downstairs, Lauren was in the kitchen making coffee. She didn't look at me. I'm staying at Amy's for a few days, she said. Okay. I need space to think. Okay. That's it? Just okay? I grabbed my keys. What do you want me to say, Lauren? You've made yourself clear. You don't love me. You don't want to be here. So go. Think. Do whatever you need to do. You're not going to fight for this? I looked at her then. Really looked at her. She was beautiful, polished, perfect, and completely empty. Fight for what? I asked. You already left. I'm just catching up. I walked out before she could respond. At work, Danny took one look at me and handed me a clipboard. Whatever happened, we don't talk about it until lunch, he said. Right now, we have concrete to pour. I nodded and got to work. For 8 hours, I focused on nothing but measurements and schedules and making sure everything was level. It was the first peace I'd had in months. At lunch, Danny sat across from me with 2 sandwiches. All right, he said. Talk. So I did. Told him everything. The beach house, the barbecue, the Thursday appointments, the hotel. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he nodded slowly. You need a lawyer, he said. Not tomorrow. Today. Right now. It's not that simple. Yeah, it is. She's planning something. Women don't stay at their sister's house to think. They stay there to strategize. You need to be ready. Ready for what? For war. I thought about Amy's whispered words at the barbecue, about being ready, about not letting Lauren win. Yeah, I said. I guess I do. That afternoon, I made 3 calls, a lawyer, a financial advisor, and a locksmith. By the time I got home, the locks were changed, my money was secured, and my lawyer had a retainer. Lauren could stay at Amy's as long as she wanted, because she wasn't coming back to my house. Not anymore. Monday morning started the same way it always did. 5:30 alarm, coffee, drive to the site, check the crew schedule, review the day's work orders, normal, methodical, controlled. But everything felt different, clearer somehow, like I'd been looking through dirty glass for 2 years and someone had finally wiped it clean. Danny pulled me aside before the morning meeting. You changed the locks? He asked quietly. Last night. Good. What about the lawyer? Meeting him this afternoon. He's reviewing everything I sent. Bank accounts? Separated. My direct deposit goes to a new account as of today. She still has access to the joint account, but there's only enough in it for bills. Danny nodded approvingly. You're thinking smart. Keep it that way. No emotional decisions. It's hard not to be emotional. Then be emotional at home. At work, you're a supervisor who's got his life together. Fake it until it's real. I appreciated the advice. Danny had been through 2 separations. He knew the playbook. The morning passed quickly. Concrete delivery at 8, foundation inspection at 10, framing crew meeting at 11. I stayed busy, stayed focused, didn't check my phone. At lunch, I drove to my lawyer's office. Richard Chen had been handling business contracts for our company for 5 years. He was thorough, discreet, expensive. His office was downtown, 2 blocks from the Morrison Hotel. I noticed it as I parked, noticed the entrance, the valet, the people coming and going, mostly business types, some couples. Tom, come in. Richard gestured to a chair across from his desk. I reviewed everything you sent. Let me be direct with you. You have a strong case for unequal division of assets based on marital waste. Marital waste? Spending marital funds on an extramarital relationship. The hotel charges, the restaurants, the gifts. If we can prove she was using joint money for an affair, we can argue she's not entitled to half. How do we prove it? That's the hard part. We need more than just hotel charges and restaurant receipts. We need proof she was there with someone specific. We need a pattern that can't be explained as business. I have Thursday appointments on her calendar. Every single one corresponds to a hotel charge. Richard made a note. That's good. What else? Her company had a Christmas party at that hotel. She introduced me to Derek Sullivan. He works for a competing firm. They were friendly, very friendly. Competing firm is good. That gives us another angle. Most companies have policies about fraternizing with competitors, but we need more than suspicion. Like what? Witnesses, photos, emails, text messages. Her phone records would be ideal, but we can only subpoena those after we file. I can't file yet. I need to know for sure. Richard leaned back in his chair. Tom, let me ask you something. Do you want to save this marriage, or do you want to protect yourself? I thought about Lauren's face at the barbecue, about the contempt in her voice, about 2 years of distance and lies and Thursday afternoons. Protect myself, I said. Then we file. We file first before she does. We control the narrative. We get discovery, which means we get access to her records. We put her on the defensive. How long does that take? To file? I can have papers ready by Friday. To serve her? Monday at the latest. And if she's planning to file first, then you beat her to it. That's the advantage. Richard pulled out a legal pad. But before we do anything, I need to ask. Do you have any vulnerabilities? Anything she could use against you? Affairs? Financial problems? Criminal history? No, none of that. Good. Then let's get started. I spent 2 hours in his office, going through finances, property, assets. The house was in both our names, but I'd paid the down payment from money I'd saved before we got married. I'd paid for most of the renovations myself, in cash, during the years she was building her career. Document everything, Richard said. Receipts, bank statements, contractor invoices, anything that shows you invested more into the house than she did. When I left his office, I felt lighter, like I'd been carrying something heavy and finally set it down. My phone had 6 missed calls, 3 from Lauren, 2 from Amy, 1 from a number I didn't recognize. I called Amy first. Tom, thank God. I've been trying to reach you all day. I was working. What's wrong? Lauren's freaking out. She went back to your house this morning and the locks are changed. I know. You changed the locks without telling her? It's my house, Amy. She said she needed space. I'm giving it to her. She's talking about calling the police, about breaking in. Tell her to call them. It's my house. My name is on the deed. She can get her things when she's ready, but she needs to schedule it with me first. Amy was quiet for a moment. Tom, what's happening? This doesn't seem like you. I'm protecting myself. That's what you told me to do, right? At the barbecue? I didn't mean... She stopped. I'm worried about you. Don't be. I'm fine. Better than fine. Lauren says you're acting crazy. She says you're accusing her of things. Is she having an affair, Amy? Silence. Amy, is she having an affair with Derek Sullivan? I don't know, she said quietly. I've had suspicions, but she won't talk to me about it. Then I'm not acting crazy. I'm acting rational. What are you going to do? Whatever I need to do. I hung up and checked the other messages. Lauren's voicemails were variations of the same theme. Anger, accusations, demands for her key. The unknown number had left a message too. Hi, this is Detective Karen Morris with the police department. Your wife called about a domestic situation. I'd like to speak with you about the lock change at your residence. Please call me back at this number. I called immediately. Detective Morris, this is Tom Brennan. I got your message. Mr. Brennan, thanks for calling back. Your wife reported that you changed the locks and won't allow her access to the marital home. Is that correct? Partially correct. I changed the locks because she moved out voluntarily. She told me she was staying with her sister. She has access to her belongings, but she needs to schedule a time to pick them up. Is your name on the deed? Yes, both our names are, but I can prove I paid for the house. That's not necessary for this conversation. If both names are on the deed, she has a legal right to access. You can't lock her out. Even if she moved out? Even then. Unless you have a restraining order or a legal separation agreement, she can enter. I took a breath. Understood, I'll give her a key. Thank you. I'd recommend you both speak with attorneys before this escalates further. Already done. She paused. Good. Smart. Keep it civil, Mr. Brennan. We hung up. I sat in my truck outside Richard's office and called a locksmith. I need you to rekey the locks again, I said, and make me 2 copies. One for me, one for my wife. That's the second time this week. the locksmith said, laughing. Trouble at home? Something like that. By 6 o'clock, I was back at the house with 2 keys. I texted Lauren. New key is under the mat. Police told me I can't lock you out. Take what you need. She didn't respond. At 7, I was eating leftover pizza when the doorbell rang. I checked the security camera I'd installed that afternoon. Derek Sullivan stood on my porch. I opened the door but didn't invite him in. Can I help you? I asked. He was taller up close, early 40s, good suit, the kind of polished confidence that comes from never being wrong. I'm Derek. I think we need to talk. About what? About Lauren. About this situation. There's no situation. There's a marriage ending. If you want to talk to someone about it, talk to her. She's upset. She says you're harassing her. I changed the locks on my own house. That's not harassment. She's your wife. For now. He stepped closer. Look, I don't know what you think is happening here, but I don't think anything. I know exactly what's happening. You're seeing my wife. She's been lying to me about it for months. And now that I've called her on it, she's playing victim. His jaw tightened. That's not how this is. Then how is it? Lauren and I are friends, colleagues, that's all. I laughed. Colleagues who meet at hotels every Thursday? We have business meetings. For 4 hours, in hotel rooms? We meet in the restaurant, in the lobby. Does your company know you're having 4-hour lobby meetings with a competitor's employee? His face changed, got harder. Are you threatening me? I'm asking a question. Does your company know? Our relationship is professional. Then you won't mind if I confirm that with your HR department. He took a step back. You're making a mistake. No, Derek, you made the mistake. You just don't know it yet. He stared at me for a long moment, then turned and walked to his car. A silver Lexus, brand new, expensive. I watched him drive away, then went inside and called Richard. I need you to draft a letter, I said, to Derek Sullivan's employer, not threatening, just inquiring about their policy on employees meeting with competitors. Tom, that's aggressive. That's strategic. He's denying everything. I want him nervous. Give me his company name. I'll draft something. I hung up and finally checked Lauren's response. I can't believe you. You're trying to destroy me. This isn't the man I married. I texted back. The man you married would have kept fighting for someone who already left. I'm not him anymore. She didn't respond. I spent the rest of the night organizing documents, bank statements, credit card bills, calendar screenshots, photos from the Christmas party where Derek's hand appeared on Lauren's back in 3 separate shots. Everything organized chronologically, everything labeled, everything ready. By midnight, I had 40 pages of evidence and a plan. Tuesday morning, I woke up to an email from Richard. Letter drafted and ready to send, review attached, call if you have questions. The letter was perfect, professional, cold. It asked Derek's company to clarify their policy on employees having extended personal meetings with competitor employees, especially when those meetings occurred at hotels during business hours. It mentioned specific dates. It mentioned Lauren by name and company. It didn't accuse anyone of anything. It just asked questions. Questions that would make HR very nervous. Send it, I replied. An hour later, Derek called. What the hell are you doing? He shouted. Protecting my interests. You sent a letter to my company. You're trying to get me fired. I sent a letter asking about policy. If that makes you nervous, maybe you should examine your choices. This is harassment. No, this is due diligence. You inserted yourself into my marriage. I'm inserting myself into your career. Seems fair. Lauren's going to hear about this. I'm sure she will. She can explain to you why she lied to both of us. He hung up. 10 minutes later, Lauren called. You're insane, she screamed. You sent a letter to Derek's work? You're trying to ruin his life. I'm trying to understand what my wife has been doing every Thursday for the last year. If that ruins his life, that's not my problem. We're friends, that's all. You're making this into something it's not. Then why lie? Why meet at hotels? Why hide it? Because I knew you'd react like this. I knew you'd be jealous and paranoid. Jealous of what, Lauren? Of a man who meets my wife in hotels while I'm at work? Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm also not stupid. Nothing happened. Nothing is happening. Then you won't mind if his company investigates that. Tom, please, you're going to cost him his job. Again, not my problem. He should have thought about that before getting involved with a married woman. I hate you. You made that clear on Saturday. She hung up. I went to work feeling calmer than I had in weeks, like I'd been playing defense for 2 years and finally decided to score. At lunch, Amy called. Tom, Lauren's at my house crying. She says you're destroying her relationship with Derek. There shouldn't be a relationship to destroy. She swears nothing physical happened. Do you believe her? Amy hesitated. I don't know what to believe anymore. She's my sister, but she's been acting strange for months. Secretive, defensive. Did she tell you about the hotel meetings? She said they were work meetings, that Derek was helping her with a project. For a year? Every Thursday? When you say it like that, it sounds bad. It is bad, Amy, and I'm done pretending it isn't. What are you going to do? I'm going to file for separation. I'm going to get discovery on her phone records and credit cards, and I'm going to make sure everyone knows the truth. That's brutal. She was brutal first. I'm just finishing what she started. Amy sighed. I warned her, at the barbecue. I told her she'd regret those words. What exactly did you whisper to me? I told you she thinks you're weak, that she's been telling people you won't fight back. I told you to prove her wrong. I'm working on it. Tom, be careful. Revenge doesn't fix anything. This isn't revenge. This is justice. We hung up. I spent the afternoon running a crew, checking foundation work, making sure everything was level and square and correct. At 4, Richard called. Derek's company responded. They want to schedule a meeting with him. They're taking this seriously. Good. His lawyer called me. They want to negotiate. Negotiate what? They want you to retract the letter. They're offering you $10,000 to go away quietly. I laughed. No. Tom, that's a lot of money for doing nothing. I don't want his money. I want the truth. Tell them no deal unless Derek provides a sworn statement about his relationship with Lauren. That's aggressive. That's the price. Richard paused. All right, I'll relay that. But Tom, if he lawyers up and refuses, you're going to look vindictive. I don't care how I look. I care what's true. That night, I stayed late at the site office, finishing paperwork. When I finally got home at 9, there was a car in my driveway, Lauren's Mercedes. I parked behind it and walked to the front door. It was unlocked. I could hear voices inside. Lauren and Derek were in the living room, on my couch, in my house. Get out, I said calmly. They both stood. Lauren looked defiant. Derek looked uncomfortable. This is my house too, Lauren said, and he's not welcome in it. Get out. Now. We're just talking, Derek said. I don't care. This is my space. You don't get to be here. Lauren invited me. Lauren doesn't live here anymore. She moved out. She's staying with her sister. This is my house. The deed says otherwise, Lauren shot back. The deed says it's marital property, but you left. You said you needed space. You don't get to bring your boyfriend into my space. He's not my boyfriend. Then why is he here? Derek stepped forward. Look, man, we're trying to work this out like adults. Adults don't lie for a year. Adults don't sneak around. Adults don't show up uninvited to someone else's house. I pulled out my phone. You have 60 seconds to leave, or I'm calling the police for trespassing. You can't do that, Lauren said. Watch me. I started dialing. Derek grabbed his keys. This isn't over. Yeah, it is. He walked out. Lauren stood there, shaking with rage. You're going to regret this, she said. I regret marrying you. Everything else is just cleanup. She grabbed her purse and left. I locked the door behind them and called Richard. I need a restraining order, not for Lauren, for Derek Sullivan. I want him legally barred from my property. That's extreme. He was in my house tonight, uninvited. I want it documented. I want him warned. And I want it official. Richard sighed. I'll draft it. But Tom, this is escalating fast. Good. I want it escalated. I want everyone to know exactly who they're dealing with. And who's that? Someone who's done being weak. I hung up and poured a drink. My hands were steady. My mind was clear. For the first time in 2 years, I wasn't reacting. I was acting, and I wasn't going to stop until everyone understood the truth. Wednesday morning started with an email from Richard. Restraining order filed. Hearing scheduled for Monday. Derek's lawyer is pushing back hard. They're claiming harassment. We need to be careful. I called him immediately. What do you mean, careful? I mean they're building a case that you're the aggressor, that you're using legal mechanisms to harass them, that this is about jealousy, not truth. It's about both. The court won't care about your feelings. They care about facts. We need to refocus on the separation, on asset division, on proving marital waste. The Derek situation is a distraction. He was in my house last night, which is why the restraining order is justified, but sending letters to his employer, that looks vindictive. We need to pull back. I'm not pulling back. Then you're going to lose. Judges don't like scorched earth tactics. They want resolution, not revenge. I took a breath. What do you recommend? Focus on Lauren. Get her phone records. Prove the affair. Use that for asset division. Leave Derek alone unless he becomes relevant to the case. He is relevant. He's the reason my marriage ended. No, Tom. Lauren is the reason. Derek's just the symptom. I hated that he was right. Fine. How do we get her phone records? We file for separation. We request discovery. We subpoena her records, her emails, her text messages. It takes time, but it's legal and it's thorough. How much time? 30 days minimum, maybe 60. That's too long. It's how the system works. Unless... He paused. Unless what? Unless she volunteers them. Sometimes people get overconfident. They think they've covered their tracks. If you can get her to show you her phone willingly, everything on it is fair game. How do I do that? You don't. I do. I send her lawyer a letter offering a quick, clean separation if she provides financial records voluntarily, including phone records. We frame it as cooperation, not discovery. You think she'll go for it? If she has nothing to hide, she will. If she refuses, it makes her look guilty. Do it. I hung up and drove to work. The site was chaos. An inspection had gone wrong. The foundation measurements were off by 2 inches. Nothing catastrophic, but enough to delay the framing crew. I spent 4 hours fixing it, remeasuring, recalculating, getting the inspector to sign off. By lunch, I was exhausted. Danny found me in the trailer, staring at blueprints. You look terrible, he said. I feel worse. Wife stuff? Always. You want my advice? Hit me. Stop trying to control it. You can't make people tell the truth. You can't force them to admit what they did. All you can do is protect yourself and move on. I can't move on until I know. Know what? You already know she cheated. You already know she lied. What else matters? I need proof. For the court. For the settlement. Danny shook his head. No, you need proof for you. Because you can't accept that she chose someone else. But Tom, even if you prove it, even if you get her phone records and emails and hotel footage, it won't change anything. She'll still be gone. You'll still be angry. And you'll have wasted months of your life fighting a war you already lost. I wanted to argue. To tell him he was wrong. But I couldn't. Because he wasn't. At 3, my phone rang. Amy. Tom, I need to tell you something, and you're not going to like it. What now? I was helping Lauren pack some things at your house. I found something in her office. Documents. What kind of documents? Legal documents. She's been meeting with a lawyer, not about the separation, about something else. Amy, what are you talking about? She's been documenting things. About you, about your behavior. She has notes about you changing the locks, about you confronting Derek, about the letter to his employer. She's building a case that you're abusive. My blood went cold. I haven't touched her. I know, but she's claiming emotional abuse, harassment. She's trying to get ahead of whatever you're planning. That's insane. Maybe, but it's smart. If she files first, if she paints you as the aggressor, the court might believe her. Richard said I should file first. I should have listened. It's not too late. But Tom, you need to stop confronting Derek. You need to stop the letters and the calls. Everything you do right now just feeds her narrative. So, I'm supposed to do nothing? You're supposed to be smart. Let your lawyer handle it. Don't give her ammunition. She was right. They were all right. But it felt like losing, like backing down. Thanks for telling me, I said. Tom, I love my sister. But what she's doing is wrong. I just don't want you to make it worse. We hung up. I sat in the truck and thought about everything. About Lauren's careful planning, about her documentation, about how she'd been 3 steps ahead the whole time. She thought I was weak, thought I'd roll over. Maybe it was time to prove her wrong in a different way. I called Richard. File the papers, today. I want her served tomorrow. You're sure? She's building a case against me. Amy just warned me. We need to file first. Okay, give me 2 hours. By 5 o'clock, the separation papers were filed. By 6, a process server had her address. At 7, my phone exploded. Lauren called 6 times. Amy called twice. Derek called once. I ignored them all and went home. At 8, there was a knock on my door. I checked the camera. It was Amy. I opened the door. She's been served, Amy said. She's losing her mind. Good. Tom, she's threatening to go to the police, to file charges. For what? Harassment. Stalking. She's saying you've been following her. I haven't. I know, but she's desperate. And desperate people do stupid things. Let her file. I have documentation. I have proof I've been at work or home. Let her try. Amy looked at me with something like sadness. This isn't you, Tom. This anger. This coldness. This is me protecting myself. This is me finally fighting back. Is it worth it? Is destroying her worth it? I'm not destroying her. I'm just making sure the truth comes out. The truth is, you loved her. And she broke your heart. Everything else is just noise. She left before I could respond. I stood in the doorway and watched her car disappear. Then I went inside, poured a drink, and opened my laptop. I had 43 pages of evidence, photos, documents, timeline, everything organized, everything labeled, everything except the one thing that would make it all make sense, the phone records. I needed those records, needed to see who she'd been calling, texting, lying to. But Richard said it would take 60 days. I didn't have 60 days. I needed another way. At midnight, I thought of one. I called Amy. I need your help, I said. With what? I need you to ask Lauren for her phone, to check something. Then I need you to forward me her messages with Derek. Tom, that's illegal. It's only illegal if I take it. If you look at her phone with her permission and happen to see something, that's different. That's the same thing. Amy, she's planning to destroy me, to call me abusive, to lie in court. I need proof that she's lying. I can't. You already helped me. You told me about the documents. You warned me. This is just one more step. She was quiet for a long time. I'll think about it, she said finally. Thank you. She hung up. I didn't sleep that night, just sat at the kitchen table, staring at my evidence, knowing it wasn't enough, knowing I needed more, knowing I was running out of time, and knowing that whatever happened next, there was no going back. Thursday morning, Amy called at 6:30. I couldn't do it, she said. I tried. But I couldn't betray her like that. I'm sorry. I understand. But Tom, I did see something. On her laptop. She left it open last night. I didn't mean to look, but I saw an email thread. With who? Derek. From 6 months ago. He was asking her to leave you, pressuring her. She kept saying she wasn't ready. Can you forward it? It's on her laptop. I can't access it. But Tom, there's more. She was responding to him from her work email, her company email. My mind started racing. Her work email? Yeah, they've been using it to communicate. Probably thought it was safer than personal phones. Amy, that's it. That's how we get the proof. How? Work emails are company property. They can be subpoenaed. Richard can request them as part of discovery. That'll take forever. Not if her company cooperates. Not if they have a reason to investigate on their own. I heard her breathing on the other end, thinking, "You're going to tell her company, aren't you? I'm going to give them a reason to look. That could get her fired. That's her choice. She chose to use company resources for personal business. She chose to communicate with a competitor on company email. Those are her choices. Tom, this is too far. No, this is exactly far enough. She was going to call me abusive. She was going to lie in court. She was going to destroy my reputation to protect herself. I'm just making sure the truth comes out first." Amy was quiet for a long moment. "I'm sorry," she said finally. "Sorry it came to this." "Me too." She hung up. I called Richard at 7. "I need you to draft another letter to Lauren's employer about their policy on using company email for personal communication with competitors." "Tom, her company email has evidence. Months of communication with Derek, planning, coordination, maybe more. We need them to investigate. If they investigate and find something, they might fire her. That's their decision. We're just asking questions." Richard sighed. "This is scorched earth. This is survival. Draft the letter." By 9, the letter was sent. By 10, Lauren's HR department called Richard requesting a meeting. By 11, Lauren called me, screaming, "You're trying to get me fired! You're destroying my career! I'm asking your company about their email policy. If that's a problem, maybe you shouldn't have violated it." "I didn't violate anything." "Then you have nothing to worry about. They're launching an investigation. They're reviewing my emails. You did this." "No, Lauren, you did this. You chose to use company email. You chose to communicate with a competitor. You chose to lie. I just asked questions. I will end you. I will destroy you. I will make sure you lose everything. You already tried. It didn't work." She hung up. At noon, Derek called. "You need to call this off," he said. His voice was tight, controlled, scared. "Call what off?" "The investigation, the letters, all of it. This isn't just affecting Lauren. It's affecting me." "Good. My company is asking questions about my meetings with her, about my travel records. You're ruining 2 careers." "I'm revealing the truth. If that ruins careers, that's not my fault. I'm offering you $50,000, cash, right now, to make this go away." I almost laughed. "You think you can buy me off? I think you're a reasonable man who's angry. I think $50,000 would help you move on." "I don't want your money." "Then what do you want?" "I want a sworn statement, detailing your relationship with my wife, dates, places, everything, signed and notarized." "That's insane." "That's my price." "I won't do it." "Then enjoy your investigation." I hung up. At 2, Richard called. "Lauren's employer wants to meet with you, tomorrow. They want your testimony about the emails." "What do I need to bring?" "Everything. Calendar, photos, timeline. They're treating this as a serious compliance issue." "Good. Tom, if they fire her, she's going to come after you hard. She'll have nothing to lose." "She already has nothing to lose. She's been planning to take me down for months. I'm just beating her to it." Friday morning, I dressed in my best suit, drove to Lauren's corporate office downtown, met with 3 people from HR and 1 from legal. They asked questions for 2 hours. I answered everything, showed them the calendar, the hotel charges, the pattern of meetings during business hours. And you believe Ms. Brennan was using company time and resources to conduct a personal relationship with Mr. Sullivan? The legal representative asked. I believe she was communicating with him regularly on company email. I believe they were meeting during business hours at hotels. I believe she was charging meals to her company card. Whether that constitutes policy violation is your determination. They thanked me and said they'd be in touch. I left the building at noon. At 1, Lauren was suspended pending investigation. At 2, Derek was called in for questioning by his employer. At 3, my lawyer called. They're both lawyering up. This is going to get complicated. Let it get complicated, as long as the truth comes out. Tom, you've won. They're under investigation. They're suspended. You can back off now. I'll back off when I have proof, when I have documentation, when I have everything I need for court. You're crossing lines. I'm standing on the right side of them. Finally. At 6, there was a knock on my door. I checked the camera. It was Derek. I opened the door but stood in the doorway. You need to leave, I said. I need 5 minutes. No. Please. His voice cracked. 5 minutes. Then I'll never contact you again. I studied him. He looked broken, exhausted, defeated. 5 minutes, I said. On the porch. You don't come inside. We stood facing each other. The sun was setting. The neighborhood was quiet. I'm sorry, he said. For all of it. For Lauren. For the lying. For inserting myself into your marriage. Okay. I didn't know she was planning to leave you. She told me you two had an agreement. That you were separating amicably. That it was just a matter of paperwork. And you believed her. I wanted to believe her. She made me feel important. Valued. I hadn't felt that way in years. So you pursued a married woman. I pursued someone who told me she was available. By the time I realized she wasn't, I was already in too deep. That's not my problem. I know, and I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm asking anyway. Because what you've done, what you've exposed, it's destroying both of us. And I need it to stop. What exactly have I exposed? The truth, that we were reckless, that we violated policies, that we lied to everyone, including ourselves. And you want me to help you cover that up? I want you to let us face the consequences without making it worse. I leaned against the doorframe. Here's the thing, Derek. You knew she was married. Maybe you believed her stories, maybe you didn't. But you knew, and you pursued her anyway. You met her in hotels. You pushed her to leave me. You inserted yourself into a life that wasn't yours. So no, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to stop, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. Then you're no better than us. Maybe, but I'm honest about it. Can you say the same? He stared at me for a long moment, then turned and walked away. I watched him drive off, watched his taillights disappear around the corner. Then I went inside and called Richard. What's the status of the separation? Lauren's lawyer is pushing for mediation. They want to settle quickly, avoid a trial. What are they offering? 50-50 split of assets, no alimony, clean break. No. Tom, that's a good deal, better than you'll get in court. I want the house. I want her to acknowledge the affair. I want it in writing. She won't agree to that. Then we go to trial, and I present everything, the emails, the hotel charges, the timeline, the investigation results, everything. That could take a year. I have time. Tom, listen to me. You've won. You've exposed them. You've protected your assets. Let it end here. Take the settlement. Move on. I can't move on until she admits what she did. She'll never admit it. People like her never do. I sat with that for a moment, knowing he was right, knowing it didn't matter. Then we go to trial, I said. Saturday morning, I woke up to a text from Amy. Lauren's moving back to Oregon, staying with our parents until things settle. She's done fighting. She's accepting the settlement. It's over. I read it 3 times. It's over. I called Richard. Did her lawyer contact you? Yes, this morning. She's accepting the original separation terms. House goes to you. Assets split according to contribution. She's waiving alimony. She wants this done. Why the change? My guess? Her investigation isn't going well. She's facing possible termination. She can't afford a prolonged legal battle. She's cutting her losses. So, I won. You won. I hung up and sat in the empty house. The house I'd fought for. The house that was finally, legally, mine. It felt hollow. I walked through the rooms, looked at the walls I'd painted, the floors I'd refinished, the kitchen I'd remodeled, everything I'd built, everything I'd protected, everything I'd destroyed a marriage to keep. My phone buzzed. Lauren. I'm signing the papers tomorrow. I'll be out of your life by Monday. I hope you're happy. I stared at the message. Was I happy? I'd exposed her lies, protected my assets, forced the truth into the open, but I'd also burned every bridge, destroyed her career, made enemies of everyone who'd been close to us. I typed a response, deleted it, typed another, finally settled on, I hope you find what you're looking for. She didn't respond. Sunday morning, I drove to the site, stood in the middle of the foundation we'd poured, looked at the steel frame rising around me. This was what I understood, building things, making them level, making them strong. Everything else was chaos. My phone rang. Amy. She signed the papers, she said. It's done. Okay. Are you okay? I don't know. For what it's worth, I think you did the right thing. She needed to face consequences. She needed to understand that actions matter. It doesn't feel right. No, it probably won't for a while. But Tom, you protected yourself. You stood up when everyone expected you to fall. That matters. Yeah. I'm sorry it ended this way. Sorry you got hurt. Sorry she couldn't be the person you deserved. Me too. We hung up. I stood on the empty site, surrounded by concrete and steel, and felt absolutely nothing. No victory, no relief, no satisfaction. Just the cold certainty that I'd won a war I never wanted to fight, and lost everything that mattered along the way. I drove home as the sun set, parked in the driveway, walked into my empty house, poured a drink, sat at the kitchen table, the same table where this had all started, where I'd planned the beach trip, where I'd believed love could be saved with effort and attention and one perfect weekend. I'd been wrong about that, wrong about a lot of things, but I'd been right about one thing. I wasn't weak. Not anymore. I raised my glass to the empty room. To truth, I said, and drank alone in the silence of everything I'd won.